So far, we have talked about genetics, epigenetics, hormones like leptin that regulate hunger and satiety, but there's another crucial player in the neurohormonal network, our gut. The gut isn't just a digestion machine. It is a communication hub. It's constantly sending signals to your brain about energy, hunger, and storage. And at the center of this conversation is one hormone that everyone's heard of, insulin. Insulin is so central that when people say, I'm doing everything right, but the weight just won't come off, the answer often lies in insulin resistance. This brings me to a concept, food as fuel. Every bite of food that we eat is fuel for our body. The carbohydrates break down into glucose, the protein breaks into amino acids, and fat becomes fatty acids. Glucose is our body's preferred quick energy source. Every cell, whether that cell is in your brain, your heart, your muscles, any organ, needs glucose to function. But glucose cannot just walk into a cell on its own. It needs a key, and that key is insulin. Now, how does insulin play a role in obesity and diabetes? Insulin is produced by the beta cells in the pancreas. Its job, like I said, is a key that slides into a lock that opens the doors on your cells so that the glucose can enter. Once glucose is in, your body can use it or burn it immediately for energy. It can store it if there is already enough glucose as glycogen for later use, or it can convert it to fat for long-term reserves. In a healthy system, it is a seamless process or should be a seamless process. But here's where things go wrong. Excess glucose, excess insulin, and insulin resistance. Let's talk about how that happens and how that develops. Imagine this. You're constantly eating calorie-dense meals. Lots of sugar, Coke, sodas, refined carbs, fast food. Each meal raises your blood sugar and causes a blood sugar spike. That causes a surge in insulin. Keep doing this repeatedly, and your cells get tired of insulin knocking at the door. Here's an analogy. It's like a rusty lock. At first, the insulin key works just fine, but with overuse, the lock gets jammed, and the key doesn't fit as smoothly. It has to knock harder and harder just to get the glucose inside the cell. Now what happens? You can also picture a delivery truck pulling up outside a warehouse. Insulin is the delivery driver, and glucose is the cargo. When locks on the warehouse doors, your cells, stop working properly, the trucks cannot unload. They just sit there, traffic keeps building up, and chaos ensues. Another example is our drainage systems. It can handle normal amounts of rain, but torrential rains, storms, hurricanes overwhelm the entire system and cause flooding. This is exactly what's happening in our body. The water damage slowly seeps inside the homes and makes the home unhealthy for living. Same way, excess water also becomes petri dish for all kinds of bacteria, viruses, resulting in outbreak of infectious diseases. Think of it as widespread inflammation in your body from the excessive blood sugar. That's insulin resistance. The glucose is stuck in the blood, insulin is working overtime, and the storage is going into overdrive, and yet there's more insulin coming in. This pathway from insulin resistance leads to your diabetes. At first, your pancreas compensates by pumping out more insulin to force glucose in, but over time, it burns out. The insulin resistance is the key that doesn't work as well, and then we start noticing borderline diabetes, where blood sugars start creeping higher, and then type 2 diabetes, where the pancreas just can't keep up anymore. The insulin production declines, and the blood sugars rise dramatically. This is a slow, silent progression until the lab tests catch up and the diagnosis is made. Now, why does insulin matter for your weight regulation? Insulin is not just about blood sugar. It's also an anabolic hormone, meaning it signals the body to store fat and increase hunger. We just talked about how insulin levels are up when we eat so much sugar. That's why you keep piling on the glucose and the insulin, and insulin is making you store more fat. This is where biology is tilted towards storage and not burning the calories or burning the sugar. This is also why women with polycystic ovaries or those in perimenopause or menopause often struggle with weight, because the shift in hormones amplifies insulin resistance. making weight gain almost inevitable witut intervention. In conclusion, when we talk about gut hormones, insulin is the star of the show. It's the gatekeeper for glucose, the driver of fat storage, and one of the clearest examples of how our biology, not just willpower, shapes our weight regulation. When insulin works well, energy flows smoothly. But when resistance sets in, the locks jam, the delivery trucks pile up, the entire system breaks down. In the next episode, we'll go beyond insulin to explore other gut hormones like GLP, GIP, and PYY, the ones now being harnessed in medications like semaglutide, tirzepatide, Ozempic, and Mounjaro. These gut hormones are rewriting the story of weight management in ways that were unimaginable just a decade ago. Thank you.